Hello everyone, welcome to WION Sports Digital. This is Aditya Sahai, and today I've been joined by England's former spinner Graeme Swann. And thank you so much for joining us.
Pleasure. Lovely to be along.
Graeme, how have you been? You were there for the India-England Test series in India, and I'll start by asking an easy question. Which was the best match of the five?
You know what? The best match from a Englishman's point of view was obviously the first Test. I think England had a chance to win 2 or 3 of the games, but just weren't quite good enough at putting the foot on the throat of India. But my favourite game, even though England lost heavily, was the Dharamshala ground at that game. What a place. It's my new favourite part of India.
So that was for the venue, more for the match, right? Obviously.
Absolutely.
So honestly, did you believe before the start of the series that England were in for a chance, with a chance to replicate the 2012 heroics?
Yeah, I did think they were in with a chance. I thought it'd be a bit of a long shot, seeing as they had 2 very young spinners, and India have got the 3 best spinners in the world, I believe, at the moment. So it was always going to be tough. But like I say, once you fall behind in a series to this Indian team, it's very, very difficult to claw your way back. So I wasn't that surprised that India won the last Test, but it was that one at Rajkot, I really think. Ranchi. That was the one. It was such a good game of cricket. And if England could have snuck that, it would have been a brilliant decider. But it wasn't to be.
Yeah, it wasn't to be. But Graeme, speaking about Bazball, speaking about England's chances, there's been a lot of noise about how they are playing ever since Ben Stokes and Brendan McCullum took over. They're clear with what they want to do. The new coin term Bazball is pretty popular now since 2022. What do you have to say about it? I mean, are you okay with this playing style? Because there have been a lot of varied opinions. Nasir Hussain said that it's all about results. It's not about how you play. And Ashwin brilliantly summed up how England are playing. He said that I feel it's not about aggressive cricket, it's about defenseless cricket. What do you make of it?
Absolutely. I think the times when England did play Bazball, so to speak, when they were very aggressive, I think that was when they were at their best. The 100 that Ollie Pope scored in the first Test, the 100 that Ben Duckett scored. In those moments, I thought England looked better than India. But when they reverted maybe to being a little bit safe, that's when the Indian spinners really come to the fore. So I think, if anything, England could have doubled down and gone a bit harder than they did in many points. I think that's where they just lost the edge in that series. I know people will say, oh no, come on, it's crazy, they're too aggressive. But this young bunch of players, this young generation, they don't play the old-fashioned defensive way. They need to be aggressive. And I think England will certainly stick to their guns going forward.
You spoke about how the modern batters, I'll speak about the batters more right now, that they don't trust the defense that much. I mean, they like to be more expressive, more aggressive with the bat. So talking about the Indian batters also, there were a lot of youngsters in the squad. And that was the high point of India's series win. Like, they were behind 1-0, there was no Virat Kohli, and a lot of other players were also in and out due to injuries. But the way the youngsters stepped up, the likes of Dev Padikkal, Gujral, Sarfaraz Khan, and Yashasvi Jaiswal in particular, he was splendid. He had a splendid run. So what about the youngsters and how they coped up with the lack of experienced players?
Well, I think this series was actually dominated by the younger players. Of course, people like Rohit Sharma and Joe Root got runs, but Jaiswal for India was simply incredible. Gujral was brilliant with the gloves. I thought the English spinners, the 2 young lads, did really well. So you could see sort of the future of these 2 Test sides moving forward on display. You're always going to get good performances from Jimmy Anderson and Rohit Sharma, but to see Tom Hartley and Shoaib Bashir from an England point of view and the spinners' point of view, bowling so well and taking wickets was very pleasing for me. But at the end of the day, I think the player of the series, even though obviously everyone will say Jaiswal, the bowler of the series for me was Kuldeep. I thought he was absolutely magnificent in this series.
Do you believe that he's the right guy? He's the guy who will take the mantle forward from Ashwin? I mean, it has become pretty evident now, especially for India in home Test series, because Kuldeep's rise has been impeccable since 2022.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just think he's bowling with a little bit more speed, a little bit more zip off the pitch, more revolutions. And I thought his control was exceptional, especially in the last 2 Tests. He didn't allow England to be aggressive, didn't allow England to get on top of him. And he just bowled some wonderful deliveries as well. It was an absolute treat to watch him bowl.
His batting, I mean, he had some handy 20-30s coming off his blade. That was very vital for it.
Well, it often happens if you're bowling well and your confidence is high.
Yeah.
When you go out to bat, it all seems very easy. He was a thorn in England's side. They just couldn't get him out, could they? It looked like they were through to the tail end, and then Kuldeep would bat for 100 balls. So he played good old-fashioned cricket when he batted, just blocked everything straight, opened the face to drive a couple. He was very impressive. You could tell that he's batted up the order at a younger age.
Swann, let's talk about the England spinners also. You spoke about Shoaib Bashir and Tom Hartley in particular. I think he was very impressive. Shoaib Bashir also learned a lot towards the end of the series. He was injured also for one game. He was actually, I think he was not well. But a word about the England spinners, especially about the men's cricket, because there's someone like Sophie Eccleston also in women's cricket. She's doing pretty well. And she's a good name in women's cricket at least. But I think in men's cricket, when we talk about spinners, it's always about Jack Leach. And I believe personally, he's more of a defensive bowler. He's more of a container for it. Obviously, they play in England where there's more about seamers. But what should be the learning for the England spinners so that they can have a longer run with the test lineup?
Well, the main thing to take from this for both of them is that they can take wickets at test level. And they're very untried, they're very untested at first class level. So to go in and get 20 wickets each in the series was phenomenal for both of them.
Yeah.
That'll do wonders for their confidence. It's up to them now to just grasp everything that they can, every bit of advice, every bit of time in the middle, time to bowl. If they do that and throw themselves at it, there's no reason why they can't be effective spinners in England, because the ball does turn in England, maybe not as much as in India, but you can do a good role in England. And I think it's going to be fantastic seeing how those two develop. Hopefully when England go back to India in 4 years' time, they'll be at the world-class level to take on India's spinners, because that is a very exciting prospect for us.
Definitely. And Swann, let's talk about our Ashwin also. I mean, there's no series where you cannot keep him out of the wicket column. And he started a bit slowly, I believe, but then he came to his usual best by the end of the series. He's now in the 500 wicket club in Test. Has also played his 100 Test match during Kankala encounter. So a word about him. You have played alongside him when you guys toured us in 2012 and won that series. So that was his early days. And now he's a veteran. He's with over 100 Test caps. So a word about him, his evolution, how you have seen him over the years.
Yeah, brilliant. That's all I can say. To take that many wickets, over 5 wickets per Test match for 100 games, that is a phenomenal effort in itself. And he has got better and better. He studies spin bowling. He's a professor of spin bowling, and he's never afraid to try something new. And the way he bowled throughout the series just showed that he's a master of his craft these days. I thought he was going to get 10 in that 100th match as well, but he ended up with 9. But that's still a phenomenal effort, and he deserves to be up there in that pantheon of great spinners throughout world cricket. He deserves to have his name in there. He's brilliant.
Swann, before we wrap it up and go towards IPL and T20 World Cup, one thing about the England Test series which stood out was Rohit Sharma's captaincy also was top notch. I mean, we talk about Ben Stokes also, his field settings. I think I'm more attracted towards his field setting than all these noise about how England act. He's pretty good also with the ball, and although he just bowled in the Dharamshala Test match. But Rohit Sharma also, I mean, he has coped up with a lot of criticism right now. He led very well in the ODI World Cup, but then to deal with that disappointment. And then now he's back after a long break. And he led very well, knowing that he had to marshal the troops and there were a lot of youngsters. The way he managed the youngsters was, I think, a standout factor in India as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And a captain will always be judged by results. So had India lost this series, but Rohit had done exactly the same, people would criticise. So it all comes down to, as a captain, getting the best out of your team at any one time. And you could see how relaxed and how confident all the youngsters were coming into the team. So captain and coach, that's a very important role that they played, and they did it very well, as did the England backroom staff as well. McCullum and Stokes, they made those youngsters feel absolutely at home in Test cricket. So as I say, it was a series for the new guys, for the Greenhorns, and they took it with both hands.
It was a series for the new guys, but what do you speak about James Anderson? Recently, Jeffrey Boycott said that probably it's time for him to retire. Do you agree with him?
Well, I think the problem is he's still the best seam bowler in world cricket, probably behind Jasprit Bumrah in my view, especially in English conditions. He's still very fit, he's still very willing, and I don't see why you should have to move him on just thinking, well, he might not be playing in 2 or 3 years' time. Let's get the best out of him while we can. So I think Jimmy will finish when he's good and ready. I don't think it's up to anyone else to tell him when that is.
Thank you so much, Swann, for doing this, for joining with us. It was a pleasure talking to you, and look forward to enjoying your commentary and other assignments in the upcoming tournaments.